TradingView can be a really overwhelming website to navigate when you're a beginner. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use it. First things first, let's log in. So let's go into TradingView. So I've just started a new account. I'm going to use the free version so that we can all be on the same page. Let's just first talk about the packages. So we got Pro, Pro Plus, and Premium. I like the Pro Plus. It gives me 10 indicators per chart, different layouts. I'm able to use price alerts as well. When you're traveling around and whatever, you want to be able to have price alerts because then it's able to tell you, hey, Bitcoin has reached $20,000. Come and buy now. Come and have a look. Whereas if you don't have these alerts, you've got to constantly always look at your phone. So you'll never know what's happening in the markets unless you're actually looking at your phone. Whereas with an alert, you don't have to, you can go swimming, you can do whatever you want. And then the moment you get that alert, you can jump onto TradingView. So that's why I like that one. Anything more than Pro Plus is just overkill. So I would recommend getting the Pro Plus. That one also allows you to be able to replay, etc. Once you go into TradingView and you've started your account, I'm going to explain what's what in the zoo. If we look on the right, we've got this thing called a watch list. So your watch list is an area where you can basically curate a bunch of stocks, crypto, forex, whatever you want, and you can put it in this watch list. All you have to do is you click on this plus button. You can type Tesla, and then you can pick which is the broker, or the stock market, whatever. So here we've got NASDAQ, right? So now we've got Tesla. Where did my Tesla go? It didn't decide to come. So let me try that again. So then you got to click on this plus and then you add it to your watch list. So this is where you're able to now have a bunch of these different things, and you can also get rid of them. So if you don't want SPX, you go and click on this X, whatever you want, right? And what's also cool is you can also add a section. So you can also, if you click here and you add a section and you double tap, you can rename it. So you can call this stock A. Maybe you might call a specific type of stocks that have specific dividend requirements or whatever, you might call it stock A, and then you'd go and you'd put all of these different ones. And what's also cool is you can drag things around, so you can drag them into the different lists. And if you want to get rid of a list like this indices one, you just click on X here. So X. Okay. And what's cool as well is, look, there's this all stocks, funds, futures, forex, crypto. So if you just want to find crypto ones, you can just click here and you can go crypto. And then over here, it tells you what the exchange is. So you can see here's Binance, Bitstamp, Coinbase, and you've got all these different ones. So now let's just jump into the charts to show you what it looks like. So what you do is you'd click on it and then you'd go down and you'd go to this area here, which will basically enlarge it and it will launch your chart for you. So the first thing is, if we click here, it will give you your username. You can go to the home page. So I'm originally on dark mode. Usually you won't be. So this is what it would look like. If you want to be a cool cat like me, then you can go dark mode. I like it better for my eyes. And then on this side is the dashboard. So this is where you got different things. So this is where you can choose what cursor you want. So at the moment I've got a cross, but we could be a dot. So you can see now it's turned into a dot. It can also be an arrow. So now look, it looks like an arrow, etc., etc. So I'm just going to go back to the cross. Now down here is where you pick all your cool charting things. So you've got your trend line. I like to draw it for when I use my break of structure or my change of character or whatever. And if you hold Control Shift and then you move, you can actually make it go straight. If I don't use Control Shift, then when I'm going, then it's a bit harder. Then I've got to go into the coordinates to make it exactly. So I'd have to go 3997.14. Whereas if you just use that Control Shift Enter, it makes it straight for you. What's also cool with all these different tools is you're able to actually change things. So you can change the style. So if you don't like the color, you can come here and you can choose a different color. Could be a dashed line. So then it would look like that. Or maybe you don't like the dashed line and you want a dotted line, but I just like the line. And then you can also pick whether you want it to have an arrow on either side. So it can have arrows on both sides or it can have no arrows, but I'm just going to keep it normal. And then you've got all these different other things which I don't really mess with. If you like a certain thing, you can come here and you can say save as, and then you can call it something. So you can say cool trend line, and then you can save it. So if I save it and then I click OK, then what I can do is when I have another trend line, I can actually make it exactly like that. So I've got this trend line that I've just drawn. If I just go here, and then this is a dash bar or whatever you want to call it that pops up. If I go and I click on this, it says templates, I can hit cool trend line, and then suddenly it becomes exactly like the one I wanted. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do. Now, another thing I don't like about the free is you've got this TradingView logo thing here, and you usually get a lot of ads and all that, which you don't get on the paid versions. So anyways, you've got all these different things that you can use, so you can experiment and you can try whatever you like. Then you've got this area here. This is where you'd find your Fibonacci retracement. And if anybody's noticing why my drawings or whatever are getting directed straight to a point, it's because I've got this magnet on. So I can switch it off and then I've got more flexibility. But if I put it on, now it will move it to a point, and I can actually choose how strong I want this magnet, whether I want a weak magnet, so I can move it a little bit more, or if I want a strong magnet, and then it's like more hectic, and it just like pushes it to a point very quickly. Now let's talk about the Fibonacci tool. So we've got the Fibonacci tool. So this area here is where you can put it into full screen mode. So I'm going to put it into full screen mode so you can see it a bit better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom, I'm going to take it to the top over here. Now, I don't really like the way that it originally starts off, the way this sort of Fibonacci looks with all these different colors. So I'm going to tap onto it and I'm going to make some changes. So for example, you can see that it's got this trend line, which is basically this funny thing here. I don't want that, so I'm going to take that off. So now that goes away. That makes it a little bit nicer. And then I don't want any of these colors. Gone. So then we can change the transparency. We go down here and we just get rid of them all. And then you can also pick which ones you want to see. So you can get rid of all of these different things. So you can basically create your own ideal Fibonacci retracement depending on what you want. So what I would want is I want the 0, 61.8. I also want the 78, the 5. Let's get rid of this opacity. But okay. Then if we go down, we can get rid of the background. So now it looks a bit nicer in that way. And then we can choose whether we want levels, if we want it in percentage terms. So I like it in percentage terms. And then you can just mess around with this and make it look a lot nicer. And then again, you can do a template and you can fix it up. So then you can do your Fibonacci, and then now it's a bit nicer than originally. Well, when we do the Fibonacci, we also want that -27. So we can basically create our own one here. Okay. And there we go. Now we've got our -27, and we can also get our -60, -61.8. We can just say 62. Because remember, the way the Fibonacci works is when we've got our uptrend, for example, this -27 is a potential area that price is going to reach once it's finished with its pullback, or it can even go as far as a -62 in some situations. So you got a whole bunch of these different things, and this is also where you'd find, for example, your GAN box tool, which you'll sometimes see I use in some of my videos, and then you can also get rid of all those other funny things in it. So what I'm actually going to do is, to make things a lot easier, I'm going to jump into my original account now, so you can see a little bit of the difference and you can actually see my settings, because obviously I can't remember every single setting that I've ever put. So I'm going to show you my settings for these particular tools so that you can use them so that it looks a lot nicer than what we've got here. So let me show you some of my settings. Trend line is normal, but let me show you, for example, the Fibonacci is a very important one. Let me show you, if you want these settings, then this is what you need. So trend line taken off, these are the types of settings you want. So if you want those settings for the Fibonacci. Now, if you want my settings for example, the GAN box tool. Remember, the GAN box tool is a little bit like the Fibonacci, but the GAN box tool is giving me my premium and discount levels. So in this example, if I'm in a downtrend, right, and I've taken it from here to here. This blue bit is my premium and this white bit is my discount area. Okay, so let me show you the settings for that, just so that you've got some cool settings here. So this is what it would look like. Okay, so you can play around with all these things. You got brush, highlighter, rectangle. So I use the rectangle, for example, to draw my zones, so my demand zone. So actually, if you see, if I click here and if I go on this bit, you can see I've got all these different settings. So I can say H1 demand zone. Sorry, I think I said demand zone, but that would be a supply zone in that case. But anyways, let me show you another tool. I like to use the path tool. Things here, boom, boom, boom. And this is my settings for my path tool. Line, normal, no arrows. And you can even write things. I mean, you can even put like a tweet here. You can even do a call out bubble. So this is when you can write things. I don't really mess with a lot of these things. This is important. So this is your long position. So obviously the green is obviously you're in profit. The red is nothing is looking good. So these are my settings, but I think they're just normal settings. You've also got your short position. What else do we have here? We've also got a price range. So for example, if you want to be able to tell, what is the return if I bought here and then I sold over here, then you can see that this bit in the brackets is how much you would have made, 4,777%. So that's all these different tools. If you right click the screen, you can remove the drawings by clicking here, remove drawings. Now, some of you might be looking at your screens and you might be thinking, how do I get this over here? So this bit here is my different time frames. So I can go onto the 1 minute time frame. I can go into the 5 minute, 15, whatever. So the way you do it is you go down here and you can pick which time frames you want. And the time frames you want, you can see the star, and what you can do is you can actually click on it. So if I click on the star right now, you can see that now I've got this area 30 seconds. So it's a bit like a little shortcut to be able to make it easier for you to use it. And then if I take it off, it goes away. So I can take this off, it goes away, boom. And then here is where you can pick what type of candle. Well, this is my candle that I like. It's the Japanese candles. But if you want to pick different ones, you can say, maybe I want columns. And then now it suddenly looks like columns. Or if you want to favorite a column, then they're over there as your favorite. So I'm going to take that off. And then you can also do a line. So then this is what it would look like with a line. But like I like to keep it at the candles. Then here we've got the indicators, metrics, and strategies. You can find your favorites over here. But if I click here, now you can find all your different things. So this is my favorites area. So these are all my favorite indicators. But if you want to just find some indicators, you can just type. So if you want to look for an exponential moving average, or what they call an EMA, you just type EMA and then it'll come up, and then you've got all these different ones. So you can pick which one you like. You can also type RSI, which is relative strength index, and then there's my one in favorites, but you can find, and you can pick whatever you want. So that's where you'd find all your different indicators and you can favorite them. Then you can use this is an indicator template. So this is where you can find different things, but I'm not sure you get that in the free version. And then this is the cool bit, which is create alert. So if I click here, I can input all my things. So ETH. So my condition would be here. Let's say if Ethereum is crossing this price. So let's say if it crosses $2,000, and I can say every time it does that or only once, I can put an expiry. So after that particular date, then it doesn't matter if Ethereum comes there. I can also change the alert name. So I can call it all sorts of things. I can say, yes, lads, whenever it does. And then what I like to do is I like to put it there as well, so that on my phone, I will get a notification. And what's cool is if you come here, you can actually say how you want it. Do you want to send email? Do you want it to pop up? And you can actually choose what the sound would be. And then you can also put alerts on. For example, you can just come here and you see on this plus, you can actually just put an alert from the add alert on Ethereum at this point, and then it will do an alert at that point. But I think that's only if you have a paid version. You can also bar replay. So I can actually pretend like the market is the 12th of July. Today is the 16th of July. So that would be the 12th of July. And then I can back test and whatever. And then I can actually press play and pretend like it's the normal market. So that's pretty cool as well, the bar replay. I really like that when I'm doing my back testing and all sorts like that. And then here is where you could create different charts. And then if we go down here, this is where my watch list would be. And then this is where my different alerts would be. You can actually communicate with other people. So you can look here and you can look at my ideas, but you can also look at the chats and you can see what people are saying. You can look for public or you can have private chats. I don't have any private, and then you can talk to people and share your ideas, etc., etc. You can also find the news, and you can find the news by going into a particular pair. So let's say Ethereum US dollar, and I can look at the key stats down here. You can see the performance. You can see buy. I don't really pay attention to that, but if you want to. So if you click here, this is where your different indicators are. And then if you press this button here, which is the eye, you can get rid of it or you can put it back. If you want something cool like my thing over here, which is basically, I just favorited a bunch of things. So if I favorite this ray, so I want you to notice what happens here when I press this button. So I click on the star. Can you see that thing appeared? So then you can create your own cool thing, which is like a nice little shortcut thing that you can use. You can also publish your ideas, or you can take a snapshot if you want. You can also search for what you want here as well for you to analyze. And then if you want to go really advanced, what you can do when you've got the paid version is you can select a layout and then you can pick like a bunch of layouts. So now you can have two charts. So you can have the Ethereum and you can have Aussie US dollar at the same time, or you can change the chart. So I can change this to Ethereum as well, but this is Ethereum on the 4-hour versus on the 1 hour. So I can look at two different time frames at the same time and see what happens. But I like to just stick to one. And then here you've got this bit that is like a strategy tester over here. So if you're like a cool coding guy, whatever, I know there's a bunch of guys that are able to create their own indicators here or to change different indicators by doing some code. And you can also create different lists. So for example, you can create a new list and you can call it something. So you can say it cool trades, and then you can like have a watch list, and then you can create your own individual watch list here. And then I can create sections within my watch list. So you can create a watch list and then you can create sections within the watch list, which I showed you how to create a section earlier. So let's say I don't like this cool trades anymore. So I can click the X and it goes away. And you can also put, like, for example, you can put different flags. Depending on your strategy, maybe you might want to say, okay, maybe I'll always put a green flag when I'm in a trade so that I know which pairs I'm in trades, and then red is like a flag for, okay, stay away from this pair for the day. So it all depends on you. So as you can see, TradingView, you can do whatever you want in it. And I mean, my charts might look very different to someone else's. And the reason being is because I will have different settings and it'll look a lot different. Now, some of you might be thinking, where are these funny dots and all these? So this is obviously an indicator that I'm using. So if I switch off that, and if I take off that, and if I take off that, now we've got a blank thing. So that's basically the end of the video. If you have any more suggestions of any other videos you'd like me to create, please let me know in the comments below.